Hey D&Ders, welcome back. I'm excited to make another video for you. This is Martin from Drop the Lowest. Today we're going to talk about the touchy subject. I had a great conversation with one of my good friends, somebody that I DM for, and it was talking about we talked about a lot of things. In this case, we talked about sandbox versus railroading. For those of you out there, if you are watching D&D videos and you do not know what a sandbox is and what railroading is, shame on you. So this whole sandbox idea is the world is your sandbox. Go play, go forth, build your sandcastles, and others will come and knock them down or whatever. The other concept is railroading, where you are on tracks and you're going from point A to point B to C, D, back up, go back to C. This is just the path. There's no diverting. It is what it is. I think Jim Davis talks about this as being, I think he called them trap words. I don't think they're trap words or whatever kind of bad words or whatever arguments are going to come up. I don't see why people argue. I think it's simple. There are times where I love sandboxing. I keep saying sandbox. I'm like hot boxing. It's awful. Anyways, like there are times where I want to play in a sandbox world. Okay, well then the DM can just go sandbox. Let's go sandbox. And then there's times, because I am a normal human being, I work for a living, I've got other priorities. This is not my life, but I love doing it because, I think it's a great community. Nobody's been watching my videos, but we'll see. We'll see if anybody does. I hope so. But the thing is that we have sometimes limited time. Now, when I was a teenager, sandbox away, because I'm playing 8, 10, 12, 24 hours. And that has happened. And we all smelled terrible, and it was filthy, and we had to shower, not together, but it was bad. Anyways, so I mean, at that point, yes, sandbox away. However, in a normal working life where, let's say you work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you have kids and family and everything, well, guess what? Your friends probably have similar situations. All of mine have kids. The podcast that we used to do, which was what was it called? Dungeon Mastered, was great, but it's amazing that it was that difficult to get together just to record a podcast. But that's part of it. Real life. This game we love is a game, but you know what? To afford these kind of things, you've got to work a job, and real life comes at you pretty quickly. So there's certain situations where we only got 2 hours to play, and the last thing, with those quick 2 hours to play, really the last thing I want to hear the DM say is, "Okay, what do you do?" Okay, I would like to go on the next quest. Well, would you like to shop? I don't know. Is there a shop there? Can I shop there? Would love to. Fine, let's buy something. Rations. Good. All right. Let's check. Some of this stuff is like, all right, we should already have done this. We've went back to the home base. We should have already purchased items. And sometimes I feel the DM in those situations is just not prepared. I don't think they're either not prepared, they're biting on time, or they have something creative they think is going to work, but the characters are not doing, the players, the PCs are not doing what the DM is wanting them to do. So I think most issues, and I feel like every video you watch when there's conflict in a party, or party conflict as they call it, most issues can be resolved by good communication. Just as we are communicating here and I'm giving ideas and doing videos and everything else, so should you be able to give out, provide good communication. So as a DM, hey everybody, let's see how much time we have. what would everybody like to do? Is everybody okay with kind of a sandbox situation in this game? Or would everybody like to, have more of a railroad, and even railroad slash sandbox, sandbox slash railroad? Maybe it's a sandbox slash railroad where there are certain key things where we're just doing a free-for-all and we have a lot of time, and boom, there's some quests here and there. Great, and there's a little railroad. Because in reality, that's what you want. You do want to mix. Then there's other times where it's all railroad, and it's like every once in a while you can branch off in sandbox. You can get a little creative and get out of the norm. And that's fine too. That's great. However, sometimes it's nice just to accomplish, hit the goal and accomplish it. In many scenarios, the free-for-all, the sandbox is great because it's free roaming. But you know what? There are times that I really like hitting those little milestones and making those accomplishments and completing certain portions of that quest or that campaign we're on. And I feel that the sandbox sometimes gets in the way of that. And I feel that players feel obligated to play in the sandbox. They feel obligated when the DM sets this stuff up, unless the DM says otherwise. The players feel obligated to go out and explore this stuff because this person put all this work in there. I mean, of course they want us to look at it. Those things are part of the game, because the reality is the DM is creating a world and scenarios for adventure and intrigue and mystery and everything else. The players are creating as well. They are creating their characters, their backstories, their motivations, what they will look like going forward. And typically these parties are friends. They are friends with each other, and the players want to absolutely appease the DM and say, you know what, I'm going to do well in your world. I want to explore it and see everything you've got. And the DM's on the other side saying, I want you to be creative and have player agency, and I want you to do whatever you want, blah, 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 blah. When in certain situations, you just look at the other person and say, we've only got a couple hours. Do you want to hit this quest in a railroad fashion and bang some of these things out? Or do you just want to explore and have a bit of a free-for-all? And there's nothing wrong with having that conversation. Your players will not think any less of you as if you're unprepared or anything else by giving them those options. And let them know. Say, look, we can do a mix, but, do you want us, we've only got a couple hours, do you want to hit a few things? Or do you not want to get started with the main quest, and do you want to have, some sandbox time and go off and do some random stuff? And we can do some role playing and character development. Perfect. No problems. I think this, for me, when it comes to D&D, the biggest part of it is it's about creation at its core. I feel that anybody that plays in this game long enough really kind of gets a knack of creating, especially on the fly, scenarios, characters, you name it, to provide that fun interaction between players and each other and DMs and players and so on. And part of that is being able to create things. Part of that is being able to be flexible. Part of it's about not being judgmental, but trying to enhance the experience. But it's one of those things. Everybody has their own way of doing things. But I behoove you. It's a good one. I behoove you to take the scenario that you're in. If you have 4+ hours to play and everybody sits their rear ends down and gets going, sandbox away. If you've got less than that, ask. Say, hey, I've got a module. It's a really good one. It ties into the story, or we can tie it into the story. Would y'all like to run a module, or would y'all like to complete a few sections of the campaign? Because we've only got a couple hours. Or do y'all just want a sandbox and go willy-nilly wherever you want to? Try that with your players sometimes. They will like the fact that you are interested in not just the world that you have built, the world you've developed, but they're going to find interest in you for taking interest in them personally, and saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to waste your time, the little time you have. Do y'all want to optimize it in a campaign, or do y'all want to just goof it off and save that stuff for next week or whatever when we have a lot longer time? Just try it. See what happens. Anyways, this is Martin. Talk to you later.